Hey, what's up? What's up? He's Matty Riser. I'm Matt Kelly. We are Wrestle Matt's here off back to back to back nights of WWE wrestling, ready to rock and roll. Matty, how you feeling, buddy?
Dude, what a wild weekend of WWE from the second ever women's evolution, Saturday night's main event, title changes galore. So much going on in the WWF or WWE, Matt Kelly. Old school, baby.
Territories, brother.
Just can't shake it. Just glad to be talking wrestling with you here on a Tuesday night.
Yeah, man. I am honestly, I'm glad that I almost needed the day to recover a little bit because I was at Saturday night's main event and Evolution. It was a 4 hour drive back here to home in Charlotte, North Carolina. And then by the time I got home, I had like a couple of hours to hang out. And then I was like, oh, Monday Night Raw. So here we go, again. And Raw was meaningful. It was kind of destination TV for a lot of ways last night, building up SummerSlam. And we'll certainly touch on that as we are recapping and giving our reactions to primarily Saturday night main event and Evolution. Like I said, we'll probably touch on some SummerSlam here and there just because implications have played out over the last couple of nights here. But let's start, Maddie, with our quick count topic of the night. And that is one Bill Goldberg, his retirement. Just some initial thoughts and reactions because we've already, I don't know if you've heard, but I've heard Goldberg's initial thoughts and reactions that he said to Ariel Hawani earlier today. But, I want to get your into this because this is the first time that you and I have done a show where one of us was physically at the event and then the other one was watching on TV. So I want to get your thoughts and your perspective on how this went.
Yeah, so this is something that's probably should have happened a couple years ago for Goldberg. But at the same time, I don't know if it was necessarily rushed, thrown together, or it was just what you have to deal with. I will be honest, I didn't see what he said to Ariel, but just my take of Saturday night's main event. I think Gunther got as much out of Bill Goldberg as he could. I think they did a good job of scripting this match. Did Goldberg look like he should be in a WWE ring? Absolutely not.
Okay. Okay. So that was pretty close to my take. What I will say from being there from a live perspective for this, and I haven't been to a Saturday night production or an NBC production the way it was, and I think it's televised and staged just a touch differently than what you're used to from your regular Raw or SmackDown. But with that said, the one thing that kind of took me out of physically being there live is Gunther had made his entrance. You have the marquee entrance, Goldberg's last entrance. I thought it was cool that they brought back the old WCW head of security there to walk him out. That was a cool moment.
Right.
But then before we can get the introductions to the match, it goes to a commercial. And I was like,
Oh,
And
so bad.
they're just standing there in the dark. And then it comes back. And then you get the entrance or the introductions, which were fine. They were great. People got back into it, but from what I heard from people that watched it through NBC, a lot of commercial breaks, especially towards the end where I think they came back from maybe their last commercial break. You had about 2 minutes of television left, including the 30-second speech that Goldberg gave, or where they cut it,
Yeah.
rather. His speech
Right.
actually went much, much longer. And I think WWE put that up on socials or YouTube or something. But people were certainly not a fan of his speech getting cut, and Goldberg was also not a fan of his speech getting cut, to say the very least. So I don't know. Did that play out oddly for you on TV?
Yeah, I mean, they did cut him out off kind of during his speech. He got, I think, 2 or 3 sentences in, but they
Yeah.
did a good job of cutting it off right after he finished the sentence, took a pause.
Okay,
So
that's what I thought.
yeah, so it wasn't awkward at all. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
you could let Goldberg talk, but that's what the Hall of Fame's for. To me, this was a plenty of a showcase for Goldberg, in my opinion. You're in Atlanta, you're in the main event. I mean, not a lot of legends get to go out like this. So to me, it was just Goldberg being Goldberg.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm right there with you. I was a little bit surprised. Man, I guess if Goldberg and Bret Hart have one thing in common is they're going to complain about something. I mean,
100%.
truly. I was almost blown away by Goldberg and the way that he was talking today and the way that he gave his retirement speech in the ring, because he was there surrounded by family and was talking about what a great ride it was and this and that. And people were hooked. People were staying around. And then Cody Rhodes comes out and gives a send off. You have all of this fanfare surrounding it. And, for him to, kind of really go out of his way to really just talk mostly negative about the moment. I'm just, it kind of
Jesus
dampers
Christ.
what I saw, because I was good. I was honestly good with what I saw. He had the moment where he spears Charles Robinson. He gets the jackhammer. He gets the entrance. A lot of great things, honestly, that I think of when you think about Goldberg. But then to come at it like this, I'm like, man, now I kind of don't care about it.
Well, and that's what we've learned with these legends as we watch. WWE's done a good job of positioning these guys in the crowd, backstage segment, but a lot of times now, less is more. And that's how I think
Yes.
WWE legends should be approached. Like, if anything, WWE's probably learned what not to do now that they've seen the whole Goldberg fiasco and how
Mhm.
that's played out. Like, hey, if another guy wants, John Cena's an exception. But another one of these guys, he's almost ruining it for everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, it could play into the hands, right, of like future retirements and considerations and
Yeah.
how they treat these things. But let's talk about something else that came out of a Saturday night main event that is incredibly unfortunate timing and pertains to the current product right now, and that is that Seth freaking Rollins is freaking injured, man. And I was texting you right after it happened, being there live, because we're watching the match. It's going off without a hitch. Everything seems good. And then Seth Rollins kind of comes up lame. The referee is there checking on him. She backs off. LA Knight. Kudos to Jessica Carr, realizing, in the moment there and making sure things were good with Seth. He gets checked out. Obviously, they call the audible right there in the corner of the ring, because he gets up, takes the kick, takes LA Knight's finish without doing any more harm there. But it seems like it's pretty serious for Seth. There's no real word. WWE and Paul Heyman last night saying, "Hey, look, until Seth decides to cash in, we don't need to comment on his health." So I think it could be a few things, man. It could just be a badly sprained knee. That I think that's best case what we're hoping for. Worst case, obviously, if it's a torn ACL or something all over again, that's devastating for this.
Yeah, it sucks for the faction. It sucks for Seth Rollins. But if you look at it in a positive light, he does have the money in the bank briefcase. This does
Yeah.
not affect anything in the meantime. It also helps Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker step up. So I think not necessarily planned, but I almost just having that, aura around them with Seth Rollins, it's got more eyes on him. So I think it did its job in that process, and it just makes for good storytelling when Seth Rollins comes back. You have a more polished Braun Breaker, more polished Bronson Reed. I think, like I said, it sucks for Seth Rollins, but to me, I look at it, it's not the Royal Rumble, it's not WrestleMania season. So we dodged a lot of bullets here with Seth Rollins. So I think you just kind of wish him well, and I don't think him being hurt takes him off TV necessarily.
Yeah, I think there definitely could be ways to keep him on television, especially if there's the possibility that, within a month or two, right, he's able to just walk. And if he can walk, we kind of saw that with CM Punk when he was injured with the shoulder, the elbow, or whatever it was when he initially came back. They kept him in that feud with Drew McIntyre, and that really kept that thing ignited until CM Punk was ready to come back. And then to your point, look, it's not WrestleMania. It's not the Rumble. And they've already alluded that Seth has until next, June, July, whatever it is, to cash in. So with that sentiment coming from Paul, it makes me think that they're pretty optimistic that he's going to be able to cash in, or that they're going to be able to utilize the briefcase with Seth Rollins. So whether it's successful or not, it does seem like they don't plan on, they're not stripping him. They're not having another Money in the Bank. Seems like it's sticking with Seth.
Yeah, and I think we were talking comebacks and returns. Is it better
Right.
to stay away, whatnot? You could use that as a tool. When he comes back, it'll be better than ever. But you have a guy who's been must-see TV, feuds with everybody in the WWE right now. His mic work, his presentation, everything's on point. that I think he can be just as good as either, I wouldn't say a manager, but kind of that role of being on TV and not having to wrestle, as important as he would be putting on bangers after banger.
Well, and I love what you said too about Paul Heyman and being able to be there for Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. And you saw it on Monday Night Raw, the way that Paul Heyman was able to really, in like one or two promos, level up Braun Breaker.
Oh,
And you're like,
absolutely.
oh, this, he literally said the next big thing. Who does that take you back to? Brock Lesnar, and if Paul Heyman is saying these type of words, and then Braun Breaker goes out and puts on a showcase the way that he did during the Gauntlet match, yeah, you're damn right, I'm buying it. And then it makes you wonder, okay, well, by the time Seth comes back, what has Braun Breaker done? What are his ties to Paul Heyman? I think there's a lot of avenues that this way can go. So maybe it's not the initial plans, but it could work out pretty okay.
Absolutely. I think it's just going to turn it into more must see TV. Now you're going to have all your eyes on Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker. We saw, like you said, the gauntlet match was crazy. That's how you build a superstar right there. It showcased Braun Breaker in a way we haven't seen in months. So to me, applaud the WWE for what they're doing right now with their talent.
Yeah. Hell yeah. And speaking of applauding WWE, let's applaud the women from this past weekend's PLE and the second edition of Evolution. Man, oh man, I am so glad I ended up buying tickets to this thing. It was a hell of a lot of fun, Maddie. I'm super, super interested to talk to you because, again, you're watching at home. I'm watching live. To me, being there live was pretty crazy. Just the reactions and seeing how invested everyone ended up being in this PLE, given the short build that we've talked about for the last couple of weeks.
Dude, and like online, you're hearing about like it's not selling tickets, Beyonce, all this. It was getting shit on, and the build was kind of wonky too. With the injury to Bliss, what's Brie Bella or Nikki Bella gonna do? There was so much, and you didn't know what you had in this event, and holy shit, it paid off to the point of no return. I was blown away by what I saw.
Yeah, to overcome the injury and Liv Morgan, the short build, to have to pivot with Nikki Bella, to have to pivot with a multitude of things, and you throw together the Kabuki Warriors last minute. You just have so many different angles that ended up working out great. Let's get into it. Bayley, Lyra, Becky Lynch setting the bar in the opening match of the night. Dude, yeah, I have not had the best things to say about Lyra Valkyria for over the last couple of months. By far her best match on the main roster. By far and away. Not even close. And I think this is a case of iron sharpens iron, if you will, in a triple threat match. Bayley, Becky, Lyra, for me, all on point. And if not the match of the night, probably, the 1B, I would say.
Well, and the way, so you were there. I want to say from watching on TV, the crowd was ridiculous. Like the crowd was hot for this whole event.
Yeah.
Could you feel like the goosebumps on your arm by how loud y'all were being?
So I was actually going to talk about it specifically with this match. And this is when I knew the crowd was going to be really, really good. Now, to back up reporting, there were some closed off sections. It wasn't a completely full arena. But I think it actually kind of worked in the favor of this show and maybe how it played out because, dude, when I could sit there and look across the way and every single person, not even exaggerating, is on their feet, yelling, cheering intensely, dude, it felt like the arena was full. I mean, people were in literally from the opening bell of this thing.
Dude, yeah, like to me, the energy, that's what makes a match even bigger, better, makes the performers perform better. To me, the crowd was on top of me, and I wasn't even there. I could just feel like I was almost getting suffocated by how hot this crowd was in Atlanta. And like you said, who in the hell would have expected? If anything, this should have been the time that WWE fans kind of go, just wasn't there. And it was polar opposite. But these three, how long have they been feuding now? Since before WrestleMania?
So yes, practically WrestleMania, because that's when Becky comes into the picture, right? Is WrestleMania. Yeah. So, I mean,
fast paced, near falls, so many near falls.
Yeah.
And just the way it ends, I think Lynch was the one that you wanted to win. I think makes the most sense. I,
Mhm.
I really thought this might have been like a blow off to the feud till I watched Monday night. So,
Yeah, no, I know.
and then I'm
I
like,
know.
oh, here, in Jey Uso's words, let's run it back.
Let's run it back. Let's run it
Yeah,
back
so
already.
yeah, I just think, yeah, I think it was probably one of the best matches. It's hard to hate any of these matches, but this one, I don't know if it's the crowd, the chemistry, the near falls, everything about it was reeked of awesomeness.
Yeah, no, it absolutely did. It was worth the wait, and I had doubts, and there's something though about that particular night. They just, man, they went out there and they made magic. Kudos to all the ladies. I loved the finish. Cannot speak enough about the finish. Smooth as butter, man. Becky Lynch rolling
Oh,
up
so
Becky
good.
like that. That back. I mean, dude, she didn't need to hit any sort of crazy
No,
finish. She
no.
just took advantage of the situation, escaped with her title. Beautiful.
Well, that's the thing. You don't have to have 80 finishers. You can tell stories in other ways.
Hmm.
And I think that's where these three, you can just tell they became pros and they've taken, Valkyrie with them. They've brought her, elevated her game. We were just shitting on her promo game. WWE's invested in her. We see that now. We've got a
Yeah.
match with her and Becky at SummerSlam. So obviously they have a plan of attack with her. If anything, her bell to bell work has went through the roof.
So quick side quest, just like a quick 1 or 2 sentence answer. Is it bigger now that we know that Lyra is facing Becky at SummerSlam? Is it bigger now if she goes out and beats Becky after all this?
Mm, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I'm
still
not
not.
sure either.
Yeah, I love. Did you
Okay.
see Becky come out with like red and yellow on?
Oh
Becky
yeah,
Hogan
she
just
knows, man. She
fucking
knows.
feeding into it. I don't. I think Lynch should. I wanted this feud to end. I'll be honest. I don't
Agreed.
hate these matches, but I was just ready for Lynch to go in a different route. So to me,
Well, and honestly, for Lyra to go on a different route, because
right,
look, hear me out. She's been involved in the Intercontinental title match picture since its inception. Literally since its inception, because she was the first person to hold it. She loses it. She comes back, does all the
yeah,
back and forth. You got Bailey, you got Becky. I mean, you get this match here at Evolution, and then now we find out we're extending it all the way to SummerSlam. So at some point, she's
it's
got to
been
not, she's got to do
every PLE, man.
yeah,
Like
she's gotta do something else, and it's not even a hate towards her at this point, it's just like, I wanna see her do something else.
one, you know how much like we were without Becky Lynch for so long. Like,
Right.
let's get her in a different feud, build another superstar. We see all the
Yes.
women on NXT that were showcased. We see all the
Yes.
guys in the mid card that don't have are kind of treading water. Now would be the time to kind of move past this feud.
Yep, love that thought. Let's get into a fresh match here ourselves. Roxanne Perez, Raquel Rodriguez retaining the WWE Women's Tag Team titles in a fatal four-way tag team match. You see it there if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or X. Join us every Tuesday night. But they took on the Kabuki Warriors, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Sol Ruka, and Zarya. I mean, this one honestly had a little bit of everything. This match was absolutely chaos. I kind of forgot almost a little bit what a fatal four-way tag team match like implicates. You know what I mean? Like there
Right.
is just non-stop action in this thing, and anybody can tag anybody, and that's kind of the cool part of this match. And given the short build, I think it's kind of the best route that they could have went, and they were able to showcase everybody in it too, which was the best part.
Yeah, and dude, shout out to Tim King. Hell of a weekend for wrestling. Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
And I loved how it started off like a tag match. And then, 5-10 minutes in it, it's just pure madness. Shit's going everywhere. Like everything's out the window. There's so many teams, but I think it was a great way to showcase everybody. Like everybody got, even the NXT girls showing off their power, like you said, Soul, she's got that it factor. You can feel it. And then everything, even Raquel, Perez, like they're wearing on me. I think Raquel's getting better and better every time she wrestles. And it just, to me, it was smooth. It did everything. There's big spots in it. And it's just, I like how you kind of keep the titles on Raquel and Perez and just keep building towards something else.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And a couple of things. One, Sol Ruka, she is my she's maybe like my surprise talent to make her way on the roster before 2025 is over. She's got that Soul Snatcher move, man, which is like an insane version of the RKO there in the corner. And
Mhm.
once people actually see it, they're like, whoa, they're just drawn. And she is a magnet and she is incredibly athletic. She can do all sorts of shit. I think it's something that the main roster really doesn't have right now, to be quite honest with you, in Sol Ruca. So I'm looking forward to much, much more of her. But two things here I wanted to touch on, Maddie. One, Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair.
Oh,
I
man.
don't know if you could tell the reaction for Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, yeah.
Atlanta, bro, hot for Charlotte Flair. I mean, in fuego for Charlotte Flair, my dude. And I think it's proven, one, they got kind of this buddy cop system going on with her and Bliss, kind of big sister, little sister sort of action. And she's away from the main event title picture. I think that's doing wonders for Charlotte Flair right now. And people are like, oh, yeah, Charlotte Flair is actually pretty great.
Yeah, it's showing off she could be a team player. Like, she doesn't have to, you can call it the Becky Hogan. She's not having to play that, Ric Flair, where she's got to be in everything. I think this is a great way to kind of showcase her presentation, her emotions, everything that you want. And I think Bliss and Flair just work so well. They kind of don't like each other, but then you see, Flair makes the save at the end of the match from the spear. It's just like, look at that picture. It's pure magic. Like they didn't have to win at this event. Like, that's the best part too. Slow build this thing. If it's SummerSlam, that's great. But I love just seeing the character development between these two week to week.
I think you could drag it out a little bit and have this big sister, little sister energy play out for quite some time. And then you shift back to maybe the Alexa Bliss dark character and see if she can drag Charlotte Flair over to the dark side.
Oh my God.
Like, slow burn it. Slow burn it just a little bit, because we're getting, hear me out, man. We're getting different layers right now than we have seen to Charlotte Flair in a very long time. Because for the longest time, it's just been like, I'm the queen, I'm the top girl, I'm this, I'm the best, I'm always main event picture. We're getting a completely different side of Charlotte Flair right now. So if you can give me that for a little bit, and then have Alexa Bliss try to drag her over to the dark side, dude, sign me up.
I didn't even think about that. Like, something, even the promos, like back and forth, they just jive so good together.
Yeah.
I think, like you said, and then you add that dark element. Like, sometimes I'm watching this and I completely forget the whole Wyatt part of Alexa Bliss.
Alexa, yeah.
So that's a whole different, that's another soap opera right there. So, and before we get off this match, I did want to say I saw a cool thing about Sol Ruca. She competed in 3 matches this weekend. Friday on SmackDown, Great American Bash, and Evolution. So she was on your television screen every single day. So good for her. Props, like you said, she's a rising star in the WWE.
Okay, yeah. So she took the Stephanie Vaquer route of a couple of months ago. When Stephanie was on like a Friday, Saturday, Monday, or Saturday, Sunday, Monday, or whatever it was. Hell yeah. Kudos to Sol. The last thing I wanted to point out about this match is the very, very end after Roxanne and Raquel retain. I don't think we have the shot, but you'll know what I'm talking about when I say it. But Roxanne jumps onto the hip of Raquel Rodriguez. Very Liv Morgan-esque already, like playing it out like, hey, I've got your spot. I've not only got your title, I got your friend, and I got your spot in the Judgment Day. So talking about pro wrestling returns, dude, when Liv Morgan comes back,
oh my God,
buddy.
She's going to be a face by the time she gets back, because I mean, we're so invested in her. It's just crazy, the layers of Judgment Day, where it started with Edge back in the day, and how many like pieces have changed, and somehow it's been must-see TV as well. So it's just, I think this is a great tag, having the big and the small together. I think that's something that's kind of lost its place in wrestling a little bit, and I love the way these two are together as well.
Yeah, well, speaking of her coming back as a face, we are previewing SummerSlam matches. We're doing some SummerSlam rewinds every single week that you can find over on our YouTube page at WrestleMats. Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan from last year's SummerSlam. I mean, you talk about basically a double turn, right?
So good. So
Basically a
good.
double turn in the match, and those two switching places and the ability for Dominic Mysterio to kind of be a caveat or a catalyst for those two ladies. Incredible. We'll also be taking a look at Razor Ramon, Shawn Michaels in a ladder match for the Intercontinental title too. So head on over to our YouTube page and be sure to check those out. They'll be dropping this week. All right, Manny, let's keep it rolling here with the Evolution PLE, and I cannot scroll over to my notes fast enough to see exactly where we were going, but I think we're going are we going to Bianca?
Yeah, we're going to Jade
Naomi,
Naomi, and what we thought was going to be the missing piece to this puzzle, which we were super excited for last minute. And then, like you said, it was kind of, I don't know if WWE dropped the ball or what, or it was just kind of what was heading towards the end of the night. But yeah, we had exactly what you needed, kind of a grudge match here.
Yeah, so I mean, it's Saturday night main event. You get Bianca and her returning with Adam Pearce, announcing that, or was it? Yeah, I think it was Adam Pearce, announcing that she was going to be. Man, I really now I don't remember if it was Adam Pearce or not. It's gonna bug me. But anyway, it was announced that Bianca was going to be the special guest referee in this Jade and Naomi match. And the first thing I texted you, and I was like, dude, if this is not the heel turn for Bianca, like there is no other. It's now or never. Like legitimately now or never. Turns out it's never. It's just never. That's just the answer now. It's the same. It's the same answer for AJ Lee ever coming back. It's never. It's just not going to happen. So for me, Maddie, this is the match that I actually most wanted to talk to you about from the television perspective, though, because live, not only are we expecting some sort of hijinks from Bianca one way or the other, but to me, in just watching it, it played out like the feud that we had already seen, and Bianca being in the middle. I was confused as to why Bianca cared so much. It felt like she had already moved past Naomi and telling her, they're not friends anymore. We haven't really had a resolution for her and Jade, but I didn't know why Bianca needed to go back into this trio and why it felt like she was watching, her two best friends go at each other when it hasn't been like that for a couple of months, really, since that blow off feud that we last saw. So I don't know how it played off for you in commentary. I don't know what they were talking about during this match, but live, even my wife turned to me and said, "That's all they're doing with Bianca?" And I was like, "Yeah, I guess so."
I mean, it was full of action and stuff, but to me, it was like kind of what we were talking about. It was kind of a letdown because you do get this major announcement and you're looking for a different layer to this story. And I mean, that's what made the most sense was the Bianca heel turn. So I think we were all, at least me at home, there was some cool spots like the announcer's table and all that, but to me, like I was just waiting. I was waiting for the end. I was waiting, for it. And then it never came. And I was just kind of like, this is one of the letdowns of the night, I think, as just storyline progression. Like, yeah, we can have these matches, but to me, it just didn't do anything for me.
Yeah. Okay. As long as it wasn't just you. And I think you probably said it kind of off the jump here. Maybe this was in WWE's mind, just the jump off point for the end of the night. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I will say, look, once Naomi lost, I'm like, well, that's just the end of her night, right? Like there's no way I expected Naomi to be seen again for the rest of the night. And we'll certainly talk about that once we get to the Rhea Ripley and Io Sky match. But from that perspective, worked like a charm, right? But from the perspective of like Bianca's involvement, it just didn't work for me.
Yeah, I didn't get that. I'm still not 100% sold on Jade as a performer, like as a wrestler, bell to bell. I think having this kind of match definitely hid some of her greenness,
Sure,
because she's taken a lot of bumps from Naomi in this. So to me, it was just kind of, I'm just not there yet. You got to hook me somehow, and I didn't feel hooked after watching this.
All right, let's jump into the Battle Royale, Maddie, that we had, and want to talk to you about this one from a television perspective too, because at the beginning of the Battle Royal, you got a couple of folks that get their full entrance. Then you have a litany of people that get a very shortened, abbreviated entrance. Then you get Stephanie Vaquer and Julia as the last couple of entrances. I'm telling you, Maddie, right now, with me being able to look across the way at everybody, everybody was just looking down the ramp,
Oh
waiting
yeah,
for waiting for a surprise, whether it was a legend or somebody else that had not been announced. And then it didn't happen. You could feel the collective like, oh, they were waiting
yeah.
on somebody else to enter this battle royal. But nonetheless, once it actually got into action, everybody was good with it.
Yeah, and I think that's the weird part of like a battle royal compared to a Royal Rumble. They all start
Mhm.
in the ring first.
Right.
You don't necessarily, there's the shock and awe has to happen at the beginning of the match.
Mm.
So with that not being in there, I think it did, it showcased a lot of people like Lash Legend, people I'm not seeing on my TV screen. I don't watch enough NXT to like tell you about all the people coming up. So it did its purpose there. But yeah, I think maybe that's something they could do like a little mini rumble or something. I
Hmm.
don't know if that's like too much of taking the Royal Rumble's thought aspect away, but yeah, to me this was a good way to kind of freshen it up from just a bunch of one-on-one or triple threat matches.
Yeah, absolutely. I can get on board with that. I think throughout the match itself, we probably got like 8 or 9 Nikki Bella twirls. People are definitely taking shots at Nikki with her twirl throughout the match, which was cracking me up. Chelsea and Nia Jax and Lash Legend hit it. I think there were so
Yeah,
many times. So people were definitely coming
yeah,
at Nikki Bella with that. So that was good to see. To your point, showcased a lot of good NXT talent. Kalani Jordan got basically her Kofi Kingston moment, if you will, saving herself, getting back into the battle royal there. And then Lash Legend, man, down to the final two
yeah,
with arguably
big time.
the hottest talent in WWE and Stephanie Vaquer. Dude, I am telling you right now, Stephanie Vaquer may be on the rocket ship of all rocket ships. The reaction to her from the crowd every time she comes out, every time she does basically anything. And then when she hit the promo with English isn't my first language, but wrestling is, dude,
Oh, so good, so good.
people fell in love with her. People fell in love with Stephanie
Yeah,
Vaquer, and it's the sky's
she's
the limit.
already she's a pro already. Like we can see it. It will be interesting because this is for the Clash in Paris, I think,
Yes,
which
yes,
is after SummerSlam. So it will be
yep.
interesting to see which route they go. If you go to the Naomi route or if you go to Tiffany Stratton route,
I think it's her and
which
Tiffy already.
would be a great, like, I would love to see. I feel like Vakur could teach Stratton quite a bit. So that would be a cool little feud to maybe bring, Stratton back to a heel.
Yeah, so let's just jump right into it, right? With Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus while we're on this topic. I thought it was a fine match with Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus. I think it hit the spots to showcase Trish, and then I think you had Tiffy just kind of overcome and say, "Look, I'm the younger talent. I'm the now. I'm the present." And it kind of served its purpose and did what it needed to do there for Tiffany Stratton. So with that said, do you look forward to more Trish Stratus? Is there something that she has to add? Because I think her feud with Becky, grant you it had more time, but I think her feud with Becky Lynch, where she was actually heel, was better than her feud with Tiffany Stratton. And I think it might be that you kind of had a face-face situation. Trish basically came back as face. They're trying to sell Tiffy as face. If
Right.
Tiffy would have been full-on heel, which some of her promos kind of came off pretty heel.
She
I,
comes off
I
as a
think you
bitch.
maybe,
Yeah.
yeah, I think you would have gotten more out of this match though.
Yeah. And I think Trish looked good. Like, I thought this was a good showing for her. Like,
Hmm.
for however old she is, she can still go. Where I'm a little more concerned about Nikki Bella, but I think Trish can really, like you said, maybe I don't know if it has to be with them working together or how you get this out, but I think
Hmm.
Trish still has enough in the tank that you could put her on a SummerSlam card and nobody would complain.
Yeah, no, fully agree, and maybe she is going to be a part of the SummerSlam ticket because I think with the way that Raw went last night, it seems pretty evident that Stephanie Vaquer is going to jump in and help out Nikki Bella against some combination of Chelsea Green, Piper Niven, and Alba Fire, and maybe it turns into a 6-woman tag team match, and maybe Trish is on the other
Yeah.
end of that, or somebody else to showcase is on the other end of that. But
Hey,
yeah,
I mean, you
Trish.
could put Nikki Bella and Trish together. Shit.
Right. Yeah, no, that's exactly what I'm thinking. And then on top of that, if you do that, you get legends surrounding Stephanie Vaquer, which is only furthering Stephanie Vaquer's rocket ship.
Yeah, she's whatever you do with her, like she's like a diamond in the rough. Like she's gonna outshine anything you put her with. So
Yeah.
good, bad, ugly. I don't think there's a way, like you said, if you're talking about a meteor hitting WWE, she's definitely on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you want to talk the NXT women's title match?
Uh a little, not a lot. I think it was kind of good for character development. I think
Hmm.
Jane plays a great heel with
Yeah.
literally her heels. I think Grace with that kind of buddy system you had with Blake Monroe, what we were
Hmm.
seeing on TV, kind of where your soap opera stuff was working as well. So if you are trying to build up, Jane, JC Jane as your champ, now's a good opportunity. I think Grace is already kind of ready just with her specimen, just the way she looks. She's going to get a lot of eyes. So I think it did its purpose as well.
Yeah, no, I think first and foremost, it gives a lot of credibility to JC Jane hanging on to
Yeah.
the NXT title for a little bit, which kudos for her because I think once she won and beat Stephanie Vaquer, they're like a lot of people just said she's a transitional champion.
Right.
Turns out she's not just a transitional champion. So good for JC Jane and proving folks wrong. I think that's a good little faction they got going on there as well. On to Blake Monroe and Jordan Grace. Part of me wonders that I think to your point, getting some good character development out of this and being able to show a different side maybe of Jordan Grace for a little bit, and maybe this ends up being her send-off feud out to the main roster. I could very much see that.
Yeah, and it's something. She's different. She's different than anything.
Very.
I'm trying to remember, like the Jordan Grace physique. Have we had anybody close to her other than China? Is like the bodybuilding like vibe. I mean, Rhea's different in her own aspect.
Yeah, Rhea is different. That is like your closest comp, but then you look stature wise, and Grace I think is probably about 5'3". Like she's really not that
Right.
tall.
Yeah.
So it is a different presence, but her power is incredibly impressive, dude. And to your point, Alas Sol Ruka, I don't think there's anything quite like Jordan Grace on the main roster either. So I think there's absolutely a place for her. And I think it's sooner. I mean, we've been saying sooner rather than later, literally since she was signed. So sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Evolution just showed you how stacked the women's roster is. And
Yes.
It's missing like Liv Morgan and some other, part timers or whoever you want to say. Like, that's why it's just crazy how I'll be honest, I underestimated this event. I wasn't sure what I was getting because it felt thrown together. And I think it was a great showcase of WWE and NXT talent.
Well, let's get to the main event. Rhea Ripley, Io Sky. Rhea trying to take the world title away from Io Sky. She has never beaten one-on-one Io Sky.
Crazy.
And this one, dude, you've got it here in the graphic if you're watching along on Facebook, YouTube, or X with us. Instant classic. And that's literally what I thought that we were going to have. And that was when I thought we were getting a finish just with Rhea or Io. That was before we get the actual finish that we'll get into here. But let's just keep it between these two. I've said it about a couple of feuds here recently, but this is the best of their series so far.
And it's crazy too. Like the thing I love about these two is didn't matter if it was chain wrestling, if it was aerial maneuvers, outside the ring, anything they did to perfection. Like chemistry is key. But Io Sky, man, she came a long way from when she started, and now look at her. She was women's champ for a couple months. She put on a lot of great matches, but yeah, Rhea cannot do no wrong. This match to me, 10. It was that good. 10 out of 10 to me. And the ending blows the roof off the place.
Yeah, the ending definitely blows the roof off the place. I love what you said about Io. Io may be from year over year, maybe like the end of 2023 to now, maybe the most improved person in WWE with their stock. I mean, she's an absolute superstar right now. I will tell you this, the thought that I had as well, in watching this match is that Io, Rhea, probably Bianca, and then Liv Morgan sell better than definitely anyone in the division, maybe anybody on the roster. Quite frankly, with their facial reactions, the bumps that they take for each other. I mean, they're not only in there to make themselves look good, they're in there to make their opponents look good. And that's why they're staying at the top of the card. That's why they're so top tier. That's why they're putting on these instant classic sort of matches. So right now, those four women are just kind of in a tier of their own. But to your point, the card is so stacked, you can see another 2, 3, 4, 5 women nipping at their heels, right? At any get Stephanie Vaquer, right? She's going to be right there. Julia is going to be right there. There's so many other talents that are just nipping at the bud, and the roster is just incredible right now. And these two showcase exactly what is at the top.
Dude, so smooth. Everything they do is like, it tells a story. Like, and I'll brag about Rhea all day. We already know she's one of the GOATs, like already one of the best.
Yep.
But I have never seen, at least from my point of view, putting the title on Io Sky might have been, in my opinion, one of the best moves WWE's made in the year, because of, you got these classic matches for the title. All eyes were on her. And she, like you said, she is overperformed from my expectations.
And they were telling a fantastic story that Io, that in this feud specifically with Rhea Ripley, she's always been one step ahead. And you see it throughout the match, that basically the entire match, Rhea has a couple of moments where she's in control, primarily after Jessica Carr gets taken out by an Io Sky drop kick. But for the most part, man, Io's in control. She's always one step ahead with her counters and her thought process and where she's going. And so they're telling that story. And yes, Rhea Ripley ends up hitting Riptide while the ref is down and has, you know, that moment where she could have been champion, but ultimately doesn't find a way to capitalize on it. Who does, though? Naomi. Miss Money in the Bank. Naomi. Man, oh man, when that music hit, I shot out of my chair so fast,
dude.
And I said, there's no way that I'm witnessing my second cash in. I saw Seth Rollins in person at WrestleMania 31. I have now seen Naomi cash in successfully, and my fears are relieved, Maddie, that she is not going to be the first woman to unsuccessfully cash in. Money in the Bank winner on the women's side, 100% cash in rate. Naomi keeps the trend going. And for as much as I just praised Io, Rhea, and everyone else for their in-ring work, Naomi, best character work by far right now. Argue with a wall. Best character work by far right now in the women's division.
We're all invested, man. Like, her promos are on point. Her attire, everything checks the box of what you want as a top superstar. It's just kind of cool to see a Funkadactyl, you know, somebody that was
unbelievable.
Feel the glow. She was an afterthought, man. Like, treading water. When the whole walkout thing happened with her and Sasha Banks, you thought, like, did she go to TNA for a while? I think
she did go to TNA for a while. Yep.
Yeah, but man, like, seeing somebody like her, Cody Rhodes, come back and just kind of pave their own way. Like, I mean, those are the success stories you want to hear about. So yeah, we're fully invested in Naomi, and now she gets a break from being on SmackDown. You throw her in the ring with two GOATs like Sky, like Rhea Ripley. This is going to be magic, man.
Yeah, I mean, you and I have been championing Naomi literally since before Money in the Bank, and basically since this heel turn happened for the most part. I did find it interesting, and if we just take over to WWE Monday Night Raw real quick and kind of where she got put. So she's out there cutting a very good promo from my vantage point. She gets interrupted by Rhea. She gets interrupted by Io. And then she gets pinned into this triple threat match at SummerSlam for her. Basically, I'm assuming it's going to be her first title defense. Maybe she defends it before then, but I doubt it because SummerSlam's only a couple of weeks away. But this is going to be her first title defense. Now, Maddie, the only thing I didn't really care for in this particular segment is that people were acting like this is somehow cheating. She won Money in the Bank. That's literally the entire premise of Money in the Bank. In fact, Io Sky just cashed in Money in the Bank not that long ago. Rhea Ripley had a chance to defeat Naomi in Money in the Bank. She didn't do it. She didn't get it done. Naomi just took advantage, and she's taken WWE by storm, man. And so for me, if I'm just looking ahead, man, I hope this isn't some short title reign for Naomi, because I think her character work is too good to just topple over at SummerSlam.
Well, I think we've seen enough of Sky and Rhea. Neither one of them need the belt to be relevant anymore on the
Very
WWE
fair.
product.
Yeah.
Where maybe a Stephanie Vaquer would be great to have the belt. I think if you're gonna take the belt off anybody at this point, it's Stratton. Naomi needs to be kind of a lengthy title run to showcase her, I think.
I fully agree. I think she's the best heel in the women's division right now. Again, best character work. Her in-ring work is very, very solid and reliable. The things that she's been doing on social media, very commendable, going out of her way to, go out and have all these interactions and be unique. I think Naomi is at the top of the division right now. So kudos to her. Last thing I wanted to talk about, Maddie, before we get out of here, is just kind of the legends versus the current talent and what you thought about that. And Triple H kind of referenced it in the post show. I saw a couple of clips of that he's very confident in the roster as it is now and not having to bring in legends to fill out the card. And you saw it. Right. They had 7 matches on the card. Your only real legends throughout these matches were Trish Stratus and then Nikki Bella. And so everything else was either NXT or current roster talent. So do you think that is good, the way that they did that with like having the legends in the crowd, showcasing them, paying homage that way, but then still like saying, look, this is our product. This is why you should tune in. Let's put the spotlight on the women of the now.
Yeah. I mean, I agree 100%. We've kind of feel like maybe both have been in unison about that, is that we're kind of in the now. We're invested in that. I just brought up like Nikki Bella. Like she was good at Evolution. She looked like shit on Monday Night Raw. So to me,
it was a tough outing. Yeah,
it was bad. I thought she was going to hurt Chelsea Green pretty bad. I don't want to say I've seen enough Nikki Bella. You can have her as a side role, but I think she takes away from, I think a lot of these legends you don't need. They've had their chance. I think a small, cameo is fine, but I'm not looking to rehearse, the feuds from 2014.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Last question. Triple H was asked, is Evolution going to be a yearly event? And this is kind of the only place where I wanted to bring up the fact that, maybe the event didn't sell as well as they had hoped. In fact, I know it didn't, just because where my seats ended up being versus where I had originally bought them, the tarps on the seats, things like that. But I don't think that was the fault or a reflection upon the women and the product. I think it was more so, honestly, poorly timed by WWE with the lack of the build for the PLE itself, the lack of recognition, and kind of maybe the detriment that it would be with everything going out, everything else going on within the Atlanta region. You did have Beyonce, who you're talking about 80,000 people in a stadium every single night, none of them really trickling in. There were a couple of people that had definitely trickled in and been at Beyonce nights prior, for sure. I can tell you that. But Beyonce was going on at the same time as Evolution. You had things going on with the Major League Baseball All-Star Weekend. You had different concerts in town. You had different comedians in town. Plus, Atlanta Metro is just a freaking big region. So to me, this isn't a reflection upon the women or this event, just poor planning on WWE and the higher-ups' part, from my perspective. Would you like to see Evolution as a yearly event?
Absolutely. Like that's a no-brainer right there. Like you said, I think WWE just kind of dropped the ball when it comes to planning, scheduling. However, they're so good at this. They're so good at, making sure they schedule their venues the same night as the AEW has a venue going and stuff like that. Sure. So I wish they put a little bit more effort, but we are still kind of in the early stages of this. We also got to remember, you gotta walk before you can run. So I kind of give WWE the, benefit of the doubt moving forward. But yeah, absolutely. If this isn't a yearly event, there's something wrong.
Yeah, no, I think folks are going to demand it. And I heard Triple H saying, like, look, the women are regular regularly main eventing PLEs now, and that's true. Don't get me wrong, but I think you can always use Evolution as a spotlight, a way to showcase, a way to put the
Yeah.
cherry on top of the division, if you will. I think the demand will be there in future years, so I think they're going to keep this rolling. 1 to 10, Maddie, what do you give Evolution to?
Ooh, man. Some matches I didn't care about, some matches I did. I did get to see a showcase of NXT talent, which, like you said, legends versus the current product. This is
Right.
why I tune in to shows like this, is because I get to see NXT stars. I really want to see more NXT talent on WWE programming. I don't think you even have to brand them as Raw superstars or SmackDown superstars. Just get them on our TVs. To me, I don't think there's a couple matches I didn't give a shit for. But to me, I mean, solid 8.5, 9. I love the ending. I love the beginning. So everything in the middle, but great storytelling with Flair and Bliss, Naomi. I mean, it's a lot to like. I'd say a 9, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of right there with you, and I like what you said. The more opportunities. That's another pitch for Evolution. I think is to get more eyes on NXT. That's a brand you're wanting to grow. Put them on a big stage. Put them on a PLE. You got Lash Legend. You heard the Miss Parker chants for Jada Parker. You got Sol Ruka. You guys are. I mean, you got all this different talent that you're out there showcasing, and I think Evolution as a PLE is a great place to do that, and it gives a jumping off point to see to kind of gauge some talent of can they do people want them on SmackDown? Do people want them on Raw? What do people think of Jordan Grace, JCJ, and all the like? For being there, Maddie, it was one of the most fun PLEs that I've been to as a WWE event. I'm right there in lockstep with you. There's a couple of misses. Most of the night was a hit, though. Everybody working hella hard. I'll give it a 9.5. It was a very, very fun night for me being there live. So absolutely loved it. Anything else you got, buddy, before we get on out of here this week?
No, man, just a really fun weekend of wrestling. I'm glad I love the idea of having like a Saturday night's main event. And the Evolution on Sunday was a nice, kind of a nice little trinkle in there of something different that you don't usually get. Yeah. Which I really love. You don't always have to have a Saturday PLE. I mean, they could do a Wednesday night, whatever. And really, I think sometimes something different is better. So I loved it. Good week of wrestling.
Yeah, I like building out something like that a weekend to make it feel special and making everything feel kind of like destination television. Again, follow us anywhere you can find us, Facebook, YouTube, X, TikTok, all those things at WrestleMats across the board. Once again, we're going to be rewinding some SummerSlam matches on our YouTube channel that you'll definitely want to check out. Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan from last year's SummerSlam, and then Razor Ramon, Shawn Michaels in a ladder match for the Intercontinental title. Going to be dropping this week as well. Plenty of stuff to get to as we come into SummerSlam this year. Thanks for joining us. Catch us next week. We'll see you then.